Joey. I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm going to be doing an earring extravaganza, and this is my second video with a past Sam's Bead Box, and they have a special going on for people right now who want to try out this box or who just don't want to commit to a monthly bead box. It's a way to sample it and get a great discount. Normally, if you're not a subscriber and you just go to buy their box, it's more expensive than if you are a monthly subscriber. But they are deeply discounting these past boxes, and this one is called Amethyst Allure. It was from February of 2024. It is so gorgeous. OMG. I love it so much. So if you didn't see my first video, I'll pop a link in the description box for that, but it was a really stunning necklace, all just regal amethyst, and I've added gold in with the bronze and the colors that are in the box. So I have 4 earring designs here. A couple of them you see they are already done, and that is because in order to do them effectively, it's best to do the 2 earrings at one time. So I have another set of these beads out here to show you how I accomplished this one. And there were 3 of these beautiful teardrop beads in this box. And so I'm gonna do exactly what I did on the 3rd one. But these are artisan, the wire work on these is artisan. And for me, I am so much better at getting the earrings more closely alike when I do one right after another, or in this case, I did these exactly at the same time. So I'm going to show you that. We're going to start over here on the right. And before I do go into the first design, I pulled in a few things from my own stash. These ear wires that you see are from a really cool assortment of ear wires that has all these different shapes in here. They're gold plated, they're really nice quality. So what's cool today is, as much as I love doing my own ear wires and doing that all-in-one design, I didn't do any of that today. And I had just ordered this, and I love it. These small wavy disc spacers, and there are 3 different finishes in here, no copper, 3 different finishes. So I've been using this gold kind of throughout. So everything here will coordinate with my necklace that I did in the last video. And then the beautiful diamond cut stainless steel ring that you see at the top of this design from this amazing assortment of jump rings. And if you use the larger sizes, there are 4 sizes. They come in gold and silver, and they have that diamond cutting. So there are 4 sizes in each, and I don't even remember what they are, but I think this one is 5mm, and I think this is 16mm, and everything in between. And they are amazing when you need a fancy jump ring. And on this design, I used some chain from Purity beads that I have in my stash. But if you need to do some chain earrings, you can link the smaller, well, any size of these jump rings together and create a really beautiful, easy, quick, fancy chain, because like on this earring, I only used 5 links. So, you know, you don't need a lot. 3, 4, 5 jump rings linked together, and you can create really beautiful chain for earrings that way too, if you're in need. So I'm going to show you this first little design. It's pretty funky, but it's so simple. It is some Softflex 22 gauge craft wire in gold with the anti-tarnish coating, 1 jump ring for each earring, and look at that. It almost looks as if I have a bead cap on here, but I just did that with wire, and then a little fancy embellishment which just accentuates this shape of this teardrop, and you really see the glass so beautifully. So I'm going to take a little length of this 22 gauge wire. I always give myself a little bit more than I need, because when you're wrapping and designing, it's so much better to have a little scrap left over that you can use for something else rather than run short. And so what I did on this is I took my 22 gauge wire and I put it through the teardrop, leaving a good bit of length out here and not so much on this side. And just so you know where it's going, this here is going to end up being this little squiggle embellishment down the front. So that gives you an idea. And again, I don't want to run short when I'm doing that. So the best way to get started on this is to bend one wire over. I'm using the top of the bead as my template, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Just pull it over against. So I just framed, I just got my shape with the top of that, using the top of that bead. And then I'm going to take my pliers and grab both of those wires and just pull them together like that. So both the wires are perfectly aligned with the top of the bead. Now this little smaller piece of wire is just going to hang out. It's going to be in the way. I just forewarn you, but just ignore it because we're going to be so happy to have it. And I'm going to grab both of my wires now, and I'm going to bend this one forward and get it nice and smooth. I probably have more, a little bit too much here. I should have cut the same amount that I did over here, but from here, if you can see, that's that 90-degree bend. And I'm going to come with my round nose pliers and do a simple loop here. Not a simple loop, a wrapped loop. Sorry, I'm excited. I love my earring designs. This was such a fun making session, and this box is amazing. I was not receiving Sam's Bead Box last year when this box went out to the subscribers, so I am beyond thrilled to get to work with it. I have loved every box that I've gotten from Sam's, so if you have always wanted to try it and see how you feel about it, this is such a good opportunity. The box is deeply discounted, and you're not committing to a monthly thing, so I'm just so excited to be doing another video with it. Okay, stop talking, Joey, and continue wrapping. It's a little distracting to have this guy hanging out there, but it can totally be done, and it doesn't really even matter which side of your loop it's on. But I do want to encase it in my wraps, so I'm going to get a hold of my loop and my hanging out wire, and I'm going to wrap really neatly one coil right beneath the previous one, and I'm going to pay attention to my bead as I near the tip of my bead, because now I'm starting to form that cool sort of bead cap look. So your tension is going to matter here, and you do have to wrap over the sides here where you made your bends. So when you get to that point, it's a little bit to pay attention to. And that's also why I did both of my earrings one right after the other, because for me, if I don't, because I'm not a machine and because I don't mass produce any of my designs, I very quickly sort of forget what my hand did. So I like to do my when I'm making artisan type earrings, I like to do them at the same time. So I was glad to have this extra bead so I can show you what I did. And so you just wrap until you are happy with where you've landed. And if you're doing earrings, this could be a cute little pendant, but if you're doing earrings, you want them to be as much alike as possible. And you can pause at any point and tidy up your wraps. You can use your nylon jaw pliers if you need to. Sometimes I'll very gently come in and just snuggle my, use the nylon jaw pliers so I don't mar my bead cap that I've created. You can pause your wrapping for that. And then when I get to the point where I want to stop, where I end, that's going to be the back of my earring. So let me see where this is coming out. This wire is coming out here. And so I am going to make this my last wrap right here on the back. Just give this a little squish with my pliers. And come in the front here and give that a little squish. So it's nice and tight. And I'm going to snip right back here. And that's going to be the back of my earring. So from there you can take your pliers and just do your best to tuck that little end. If it needs an extra cut, you don't want it to be sharp, but it's going to be on the back of the earring. Okay, and then I am just going to come to this little end right here with my round nose pliers. Oh, I need a nice blunt cut. I ended up with a point on the end of my wire. Always start with a nice blunt cut. And I'm going to make a little really small curl, just really, really small. and I'm going to make a tiny little curly Q here. Not a full spiral, just a few rounds. I mean, it can be as big, or this probably is going to end up being a pendant since I already did my earrings, so I can do a little bit more of a curl. You can, you know, depending on your wire that you have. And then in order to get my squiggle, my spiral was going this way. I'm going to put my round nose pliers right where I stopped spiraling, and I'm going to bend it back. Then I'm going to come up and bend it forward. Then I'm going to go behind that and bend it back, and as much as you want until you're happy. This is probably too long. It is, it's too long. That's okay. I will just coil a little bit more. So that's why I said these are very artisan, and for me, no two of these come out alike. I showed you the steps. Those are exactly the steps that I have done on them, but I have to do them together because like this turned out a little bit differently than my first ones. But that's exactly the steps, and then, you know what, no matter whether it's going to be earrings or what it's going to be, I just take my nylon jaw pliers and, you know, make sure that everything is nice and flat to the bead. So that is that first little earring, and this is what the ones that I did together. They look pretty good. They're a lot better than this one, but this one actually it looks like a beautiful set because this is a little bit larger and there's a little bit more wrapping on my cap, so that would make a really pretty pendant, like a minimalist pendant and earring set. So I actually really like the way all of them came out, but you can see that that wire that we left hanging out is this embellishment, and so if you give yourself a little bit extra length, then you have the space to do a larger coil here if you like the look of the larger coil as opposed to the little minimalist one. Okay, the next pair of earrings is so easy. Okay, this one is so easy. I took 5 lengths of chain, a ball head pin, 2 beads, and a disc spacer, and that is that. So I just have this little little scrap of wire here. I just have this little ball head pin, and I'm going to put on one of these gorgeous Saturn beads. They're crystal and gold lined, and they're just one of my favorite things in this box. And one of those lovely spacers, and one of these cylindrical opal beads. And then I did 5 lengths of chain, and so let me show you the madness there, the method to my madness. Let me straighten out this loop a little bit on this ear wire. I'm going to go ahead and open my ear wire and add my top link to it. And so the chain that I have, I chose 5 links, the odd number, because that first link is parallel to my mat, perpendicular parallel, and this one is now also parallel to my mat. So when I put my wrapped loop in there, it's going to be going that way, and so my earrings are going to be facing forward. And I know that's like a maybe a little bit of an anal like obsession with direction, but these cylinder beads are not exactly the same profile. So I have this facing forward, and even though this is going to dangle on a chain, I want to connect everything perfectly. So I'm doing a 90-degree bend, and I'm going to put my round nose pliers in there and wrap right down to this cylinder bead just so that it is secure in the facing forward position. But before I start wrapping, I did not attach this with a jump ring or anything, so I've got to get my chain and my ear wire in there, and then I can wrap it closed. And then it's just the same, my same wrapping. I'm a neat wrapper, but you know, you don't, that's me, that's my groove. But if you like messy wraps, you know, you can really, it's a look. So this is the look that I like. So I'm just going to wrap down to that bead. Just get, and that earring out of the way. Done. The only thing is my loop got a little sideways, so I'm just going to put my round nose pliers in there and just straighten that up. And that little earring is done. That pair is so easy. It's really just simple connecting. And I love linear drops. I think those are so stunning. They're just simple and minimalist, but they also have beautiful movement and the classic elegance of white and gold. And it really features this Saturn bead. Like, there's geometry in these earrings with these cylinders, the discs, and then the Saturn beads. Those are one of my favorite pairs. I love all of them, but those are so cool. Okay, this next pair, aren't they awesome? These are a little bit avant-garde. These are very flirty, and they're also very artisan because I made these and hammered them. And so for this part, you're going to do your 2 wires together, and I used my 1-step looper so that everything is really consistent, and I stacked 2 discs and 2 faceted amethyst rondelles from the box. They're very, these were also very organic and, you know, imperfect, like there was irregularities, but I love that. So for this earring, you could really put any drop that you want. And I went ahead and made them because you really get a good result if you do these literally at the same time, not one right after the other, but literally at the same time. So I'm going to use these gorgeous amethyst and bronze coin beads, make my own head pin, and do another pair just like that, but this will be my drop on that pair. So I have 20 gauge wire out here. This is going to be for the head pin, and this is also 20 gauge wire, and I'm going to put, I'm starting with 2 lengths of wire that are exactly the same for my squiggly downward rods. But let's go ahead and do the head pin first. So I want to start with a nice blunt cut, and I'm going to bring in my 6-step bail making plier, and I'm going to use the smallest step on my bail making plier, and I'm just going to get a little coil in here. And again, because I'm making earrings, I'm going to, I mean, you could count the coils if you want to, but I really just want it to be the same as this one. So I did 1, 2, 3, looks like I did 5. And a little trick for this is, like, see, I have some separation there while it's on the tool. Whoops. Slipped right out of my hand. I'm right hand dominant, so when I try to do anything with strength with this hand, it ends badly. But I'm just going to zhuzh these together while it's still on the tool, and that gives me, you know, a really nice, neat coil that way. And now also, while it's still in the tool, this is a head pin. And so if you can see, I've coiled and my wire is over here, which would put this offset of my bead. So while it's still in the tool, I'm going to bend this to the middle and then take my pliers, and while I'm holding it, I've got a good grip here, I'm going to direction this straight up, and then my head pin is formed basically. The tool really helps you. Let me grab my nylon jaw pliers and just straighten that out. So I'm starting with a really pretty head pin. And then when I take it off, I have a really beautiful head pin. And I'm going to pop my coin bead on there. And once your bead is on, that also gives you a little bit of leverage. And so I don't like the way my coil ended. I did the same thing on that one. I'm just going to come in here with my cutters and just snip that. So it looks like that. It matches the other side really well. And I'm going to get a hold of my coin bead right at the top, give this a 90-degree bend, and do a wire wrapped loop. And you see I did the same little kind of a little bead cap, or like it has a little scarf around the shoulder of the coin bead. So I'm just going to bring this over, rotate my plier, bring that loop down, get everything nice and centered, just like that. And now I'm going to do the same neat wrapping. And the reason that I did this is because I wanted my coin beads to be facing forward. So once I'm getting down toward wrapping toward the bead, I just straighten out my bead so that it's facing forward. And now I'm going to lay those wraps on top of the bead. Rotate with your pliers if you need to. Just lay it around so it's almost like I've put a little spacer bead or a little coiled bead cap on top. And when you get to the end here, and again, I want my earrings to look kind of the same. Get to the end. That's why I always give myself extra wire too, because longer wire is not wasted, it's working wire. And when I end up short like this, it's more stressful and more difficult to get it in there. I mean, I can do it, but if you're trying this for the first time, give yourself extra wire, because it's so not fun to struggle because you don't have enough wire, which is exactly what's happened on this one. I grab my nylon jaw pliers if I need to straighten anything out. And I have a couple of pairs. I have a pair that's a little bit chewed up, and I just find it's really useful for some things. And then I have a pair that's almost not used at all, and that's really useful for some things too. Okay, so my drops are ready, and I am going to get my 1.5 millimeter one-step looper, and these wires are cut at exactly the same length. So I'm going to put this in this tool where the end of my wire is just past this back cutter, and let it make that cut for me and make the simple loop. I've pulled it down so my loop is centered on the wire, and it looks like that. And now I'm going to come to this end and do the exact same thing. Simple loop. And now I'm going to come to this one and do the exact same thing. So this is how it's my little trick for getting my earrings exactly alike without painstakingly measuring and checking measurements and, a lot of tools. I love my one-step looper. So it looks like that. And now I am going to match these up. In fact, I'm going to go ahead. These are going to get hammered, but I'm going to take my time. That's my advice with wire working. When I try to go too fast, when I don't take the time to close up my loops and things, I end up not happy with the results. Okay, I'm going to bring in my little bench block, and I used my ball peen hammer to do this because it's so small. The first thing I'm going to do is line up these loops so that they are exact, and they're going to get attached to my ear wires like this. Okay, so I want my squiggles to be going that way. And I'm going to do the same thing again with my round nose pliers. I'm going to get a hold of both of those wires at the same time and put a bend there, a bend there, bend there. You can do this with your chain nose pliers too. Just get your little curves so that you're happy with them. Okay, so they are exactly alike, and I like to mirror my earrings, so when these are hammered, I can actually flip them, and then I'll have, artisan squiggles that are the same, but I keep mine together. I keep them together side by side for the entire process, and that just gives such a great result. So I don't want to hammer on the loops too much. I am going to hammer. If the noise might bother you, lower your volume or fast forward, but it doesn't take much. This is only 20 gauge wire, and if you over hammer a wire, you make it brittle and it can snap. So I want to get it flat, and I want to get texture in here without too much pounding. So I like to even like bite into my wire with the edge of my hammer to kind of mimic that diamond cutting that is on the jump rings that I love so much. And I'm going to just keep everything together. You do change the molecules in the wire when you hammer, so you'll see that you're sort of spreading things out, your loops are opening up, but that's okay. We're going to, you know, fix that at the end. And I do want to I want to flatten. You can use the ball side of the ball peen hammer to give it like a textured look, and I want to do both sides. So I'm just holding my artisan squiggles together. And just switch sides. Is once I have my hammering and I have you know, everything, the texturing that I want, I'll put them back on my little bench block and come with a rubber mallet, and that's another great way. It work hardens round wire without flattening, but it also kind of smooths out the wire. So just a little bit of tapping like that, and I'll flip them over and do the same thing on this side. And that's an easy way of getting everything to be, you know, flat. And there. Okay, I'm just going to lay these on my mat, and I'm going to flip them that way so my earrings are mirrored. And now I'm going to open this one and feed on my little drop that I made and close that loop really well. And same thing on this side. Open this loop and add my coin drop. Make sure that's closed really well. And I'll go ahead, and my ear wires are already open. So since I hammered my loops open, I'll go ahead and close those really well. Make sure they're closed really well. That one looks pretty good. And then just add it to the ear wire. Look at that, it's so cool. These are very avant-garde. These have, to me, they have like a boutique quality to them, like something that I would see if I was shopping, you know, on an island vacation or in a village where they had boutiques, you know, really exclusive artisan boutiques, because no two are alike, and it's a little bit contemporary. And I just think this is such a cool design and so easy and so artisan. Okay, look at that. And so you get this hand hammered, hand wired earring look, and they're so dangly and they are perfectly mirrored. So that's the little trick for getting those alike. And of course, you know, I did this pair a little bit shorter. You can make them really long, like shoulder dusters. You can do them shorter, you can do them really short. You know, that's up to the artist. So I love those. I think they're so cool. Okay, the last earring is mostly a connecting project, and I just absolutely love the shape that it takes. And again, I'm going to be using my one-step looper. So let's see, I have 3 pieces of 20 gauge wire out here. I'm going to take the longer piece and take my one-step looper and do the same thing again. Just go past the back cutter and put a simple loop in there. And I'm not even going to worry about closing it or tidying it up, because I'm going to open it again to add my other elements in. And so my stringing on this is one of the purple disc beads, one of my gold metal discs. There were 2 of these amazing melon beads in this box. Oh my goodness, I could have a bathtub full of those. They are so pretty. And then just the same thing, it's flanked by discs, just like that. And then I'm going to flip this around so that I always know that my one-step looper makes the loop going up. so that way this earring matches the other one. This time I'm using the guide hole, and I'll gently close it. I'm watching my beads here by the front cutter, and I'll pull this stack of beads down and gently close. And like I said, I have to open these loops again. I am going to align them, but I do have to open them again to attach my other elements. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a simple loop in the bottom of each, well, it will be the bottom of each of these pieces of wire. Just put a simple loop right there. So those are ready to go. Then I have a piece of 24, let me make sure it's not 26. I think it's 24. It is. I am using my Softflex wire in 24 gauge to make this little half circle, or that little swag that goes beneath the bead. And it is a little bit, you know, it's a little bit thin wire for what I'm going to do, but it worked really well. I'm going to come right here and do a wrapped loop down really tiny on the tip of the plier, because I don't need this to be, it only needs to fit inside the simple loop that we just made. So I'm going to do all my normal steps of a wire wrapped loop, just a tiny little loop. And I think I only did two wraps. That's all we need. And snip. Even a tiny little loop like that, I still want to tidy it up. I know that probably drives some of you crazy, because I am just a little bit of a perfectionist, but look at that. It's tiny, but it's perfect. Okay, and I'm going to string on 5 of the opalescent Czech glass rounds, and I popped an 11/0 seed bead in between each one. And if you're doing this and you want to adjust the pattern, I would suggest an odd number, because you see how that odd number puts one right in the middle of the earring design, and it floats just beneath. So I would suggest an odd number. That worked out really well in the designs, but you could, because you could do this with 7 or 9, you know, or you could do it smaller if you don't have as long of a little trapeze act going on as I do. It is a bead trapeze. Okay, let me get these on here. They are on, and I have 2 more of my beads for the upper part of my earring, and I'm going to do another little tiny wire wrapped loop on this end. I'm going to give this a curve. I can do more hand sculpting afterward, but give it a curve so my beads don't get too tight, and I'm going to put another little tiny wire wrapped loop in this end. I'm going to go ahead and attach this to this component. So I'm going to open this simple loop and add one of my wrapped loops to it on this side. Close it really well. Work hard and make sure, in fact, it is closed. Looks pretty good. And then I'm going to, without twisting this, come to this side and open this loop. This will be the last time that I open this loop, because the next part of this I'm going to open those loops to attach. So I'm just going to get that on there. This side is a little bit. It helps if you have like a really tiny plier. My Xuron crimping plier is really great for I'm just making these loops go in the direction that I need them to, and I'm just going to hand sculpt this little swag. Just make it a little swag. And after I get the top part of the earring on, I can play with this a little bit more because I'll be able to hang it and look at it. Out some but I'm ready to build the top seed beads. And I did find that some of these 11/0s did not want to go on 20 gauge wire, but I found enough that would. And I'm going to come to the tip here and just make a little bit of an angled cut on both of these wires, just so that stringing is not difficult. That will help to pick up the seed beads. And the little pattern that I did is 7 seed beads and then one of my Czech glass rounds and then 6 seed beads. That just put my Czech glass round a little bit more toward the top of the earring, and I like the way that looked. So 3. Okay, so one of them is done. Just double check my count. And you guessed it, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come to this end where my loop will be going up so it matches the other one, and put it in the tool again. Gently close my tool so that I can see that I'm not breaking my seed beads here. Let it make my cut, my loop, pull it down away from the jaw of the plier, and now while it's in the tool, I can check to make sure that all my loops are aligned, just so. And there is another little trick, another little bend that I did to that, and I'll show you when we connect it to the final jump ring and ear wire. So same thing on this side, I need to do 7 seed beads, 1 Czech glass, and 6 seed beads. Okay, I am going to open this and add it to the top of this loop. So my fine gauge, my 24 gauge wrapped loop is attached to the bottom. You see there's a top and a bottom of the loop, and this one is attached to the top of the loop, so it will hang really well. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to open this and come to this side and attach to the top of the loop. Close that really well. And now when I come up here to the top, I'm going to give these loops at the top a little bend outward. So this one going out that way and this one going out that way. And if I can grab them with my pliers, I'll show you what that does. Can you see? Let me get my fingers out of the way. Maybe it'll be easier to see it this way. See the little tiny bend? Like just a little bit that way, a little bit that way. And then when I come in here with my jump ring, I'm going to go through both of those loops and see what that does. It makes them hang right beside each other. And I can go ahead and put my ear wire on. It needs attention. These were all a little bit open in the box. Okay, now I can put my ear wire on and close that jump ring. And so see how pretty it hangs? It just hangs beautifully. And I thought I was going to need to do some sculpting, but I got my little swag really beautifully on this one. Look at these. They are so elegant. I absolutely love this combination of gold, purple, and white. Stunning, stunning. And these were all really simple, but they are really artisan. They all have an amazing handmade quality to them, and I just think they are amazing. And I had so much fun designing them and executing the designs. And let's see, my favorites are definitely these and these. I really like these as well. I will wear these. I think those are beautiful, and these are stunning, but I don't usually wear a lot of big earrings or chandelier type earrings, but I really love these. I will probably wear those too, and it's this very very gorgeous melon bead that's kind of rustic. It's like, I don't know if you can see, but the fluting in the melon bead is faceted, and then it has that little spark of AB on half of it. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous pair of earrings. So I thank you so much for watching. This is such a great opportunity if you've always wanted to try Sam's Bead Box, but you didn't want to commit to another monthly box. This is such a great opportunity to give it a try, see how you feel about it. It's really, really a wonderful box. I have enjoyed getting it so much. And so my discount code and my link will be in this description box under this video, where it says more under the video title. Tap that and then tap more another time to reveal all the information that's beneath the video, and you'll find links for past boxes there, my discount code, links to my beautiful jump rings, my chain that I love so much, my discs that I just got, all those links. I always share all of that with you guys. If I find something good that I really like, I just put it there so you have access to it, and it saves you some time if you're gathering up supplies for yourself. I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.